All right, so we're going to start back up. We're going to take a look at this second game in the GosuLeague between Navi and Mouz. So the GosuLeague is a sort of ongoing seasonal league. The primary caster is Purge, and you should definitely listen to him as well. He's really good. And so in the first game of this series, which is a best of two, so this is going to be the last game in the series regardless of who wins. In the first game, Navi went for a, I'm going to charitably call it unusual composition in terms of which heroes they did and what the approach they took was. They had a safe lane solo farming gyrocopter, and that was Dendi, who's usually their mid hero. And they had a dual mid with the Lifestealer and Jakiro, with Favost, who's the usual carry player, playing the Lifestealer. And, you know, it almost worked. I think if they had not only... they were unorthodox in their laning, they were unorthodox in their hero choices, and they were extremely unorthodox in their item choices. And I think if they had bowed to orthodoxy in any one of those three departments, they could have taken it from Mouz. But as it is, it was just a little bit too wacky, a little bit too fun, and in the end they didn't end up going down because Black, who's Mouz's carry player, just managed to get way too much gold on Faceless Void. He had something like Mask of Madness, which increases your attack speed dramatically when you activate it, Butterfly, which is attack speed, dodge. He had Daedalus for critical strike. He had Black King Bar for magic immunity. He had Battle Fury for AoE. Everything you could ever want for Faceless Void, he had, and so he sort of became an increasingly unstoppable force as the game went on. So try as Navi might, and they had some amazing fights, they couldn't actually stop the inexorable force of the Faceless Void from taking over. And it looks like Dendi is actually going to not connect to this game. It looks like there's just some sort of loading issue. Maybe there's an issue with the server, so it's probably going to get restarted. We can sort of take a look at the results of the last game from the while we wait for this to happen. So actually today had a bunch of really good games. I don't want to quit Dota 2. So let's take a look at this last game. Like I said, the story of the game is really that this Faceless Void went 14-3. This is a pretty fantastic record, but the real story is told right here. Eventually, if a Void is making almost 750 gold per minute, it's going to be extremely hard for any team doing anything to really deal with that. And the fact that he had this just assemblage of extremely top tier items meant that in any fight, if he actually landed Chronosphere and managed to shut people down with it, he was going to get kills, and he was going to get them in bulk. And that's exactly what he did. He killed the entire team of Navi more than once. And so even though the Gyrocopter Lifestealer situation actually ended up working pretty well, the high attack speed for the Lifestealer with the Assault Cuirass was really useful. Dendi did a lot of damage. He had this unorthodox Ethereal Blade that in theory could have prevented Sven or Faceless Void from actually attacking. In the end, it wasn't quite enough. There wasn't quite enough to actually take down the Faceless Void in sustained engagements. And as a consequence, Navi ended up falling in that game. Now, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next game, because they could go another very unorthodox approach. They could sort of revert back to form. I think just at a basic level, Navi are generally regarded as the stronger team just mechanically. So if they play to the top of their ability, they probably could take it off of Mouz. But, you know, anything could happen, and certainly the fact that Navi did decide to go for a fairly unorthodox approach led to what was an extremely exciting game that could have gone either way up until, you know, maybe 3/4 of the way through. So either way, I think we'll get something entertaining to watch. Mouz are always fun to watch. Navi are extremely fun to watch because, you know, they don't take themselves that seriously. Sometimes they do very wacky or odd things. And we had another pretty good game with Navi earlier. They faced up against... who did we watch them play? Fnatic, actually. Fnatic Navi earlier today in the Star Ladder. It's also a game that I do recommend watching. It was pretty good, also interesting. Also could have tipped either way up until fairly close to the end. That'll be in the VOD section, so you can find it. It's somewhere in the stream. There's going to be a very long stream file from today, from when I was streaming earlier, just because I did a lot of games. But where you can definitely find it is I'm going to pull the highlights out, and then I'll split up the games individually. And I think Twitch TV actually just put in a system that makes it much easier to upload to YouTube once you actually have highlights of games. So those will be on YouTube in a more timely fashion than I usually put them up. So shout outs to Twitch TV for that. They're definitely a good bunch of folks that tries to make their service substantially better. It's kind of hard to find the highlights page right now, but I know they've said that they're actually going to make that page more prominent, and I'm going to link it in the description of the Twitch channel as well. So if you want to take another look at any of the games that I casted today, you'll be able to find them both in the highlights section of Twitch, so I'll split them out game by game, and I'll also upload them to YouTube as well. So once we sort of load up, we'll sort of get into this game. Let me just talk about a little bit about which games we actually saw today. So The very interesting stuff that happened earlier was the GEST Dota 2 challenge happened, and there were the final games between LGD and LGD, so you see that it just says LGD and LGD Gaming. Basically, one of these teams is the Chinese team, so it's the team that actually placed third at the second international. Very, very strong team. They kept in Xiao 8. They're known for very, very good drafters, good strategy. After the International 2, they sort of changed up their lineup a little bit in terms of which players play which roles. Oh, we're actually back into the game. So we'll talk about that later. But those are good games. There were 4 games between LGD and LGD International. All of them I would recommend. I would think it's a really good series. You saw some approaches to the game and some heroes that you don't see when you just watch European and North American teams. And you just saw very, very high level play and a lot of really clever things done by both teams. So it looks like also the first pick in this is going to be had by Mouz, so they're going to be on the Dire, but they're going to have first pick. I think you see tournaments are mixing it up more in terms of who gets first pick in every game, because in the current patch, it's been found that Radiant actually has a statistically significant advantage, more so than they had before. It's actually a lot more so than they had before. And also for the team that gets first pick has a fairly substantial advantage. So if you always give the Radiant team the first pick, it's almost like an insurmountable advantage that it's not insurmountable, but it's definitely a substantial advantage. So I think the tournaments that are sort of taking these statistics seriously are making, oh, actually, no, my mistake. Navi is going to get the first pick on Radiant. But a lot of teams are mixing up who actually gets the first pick. So we've got Magnus banned out. It's rare that you're going to see a Magnus, except in certain cases where they don't ban him in the first phase. Mouz also takes out Templar Assassin. Dendi is amazing on Templar Assassin. It's an extremely strong mid-hero. And Navi, meanwhile, takes out Sven, so they don't want to see that Sven again, because Sven is quite versatile in the sense that in that game we saw him as a support Sven, support roaming, generating kills with a combination of Leshrac, and that was very, very effective. And later on, he still got the farm to get his BKB, and he was a strong damage dealer later in the game. So Sven, a good carry, a good sort of supporty, stunny type guy, and Navi doesn't want to see him. Additionally, Navi, I think, intentionally wanted to leave the Batrider in so Dendi could pick him up. Dendi is also very good on Batrider. It's a great mid-hero, possibly the best in the pool, and it's going to be difficult with Templar Assassin banned for Mouz to have something to stand up against the Batrider. And they also take out Wisp. I know that Puppy, the captain of Navi, isn't especially fond of Wisp, and he just really doesn't want the mobile ganking ability that can be generated by that hero, as well as the sort of healing and other capacity for trouble. So Navi picking Batrider first definitely signals they're going to take this pretty seriously, I think. I mean, we'll definitely see as they go deeper in the draft whether they actually pick up different heroes and start diversifying a little bit. But definitely Batrider, a very strong choice. It would be very bad if Batrider was left unbanned and they chose not to pick him. The other option was Darkseer. They could take Undying. And I think Mouz is trying to decide from sort of the rogues gallery of remaining extremely good heroes whether they want to they could take Bounty Hunter, because if they don't take Bounty Hunter, then Navi will pick him up now. They do decide to take the Bounty Hunter. That makes sense. They want to deny Light of Heaven that hero. However, that means that Navi takes Darkseer. They put Light of Heaven on Darkseer. They still get their Jakiro. Arsart loves playing Jakiro. It's a very strong hero. He's always able to land those big ice paths. And I'm not sure actually taking Bounty Hunter was the right pick for Mouz here. It's definitely they would definitely have to either take their pick absolutely had to be probably Undying and either Darkseer or Bounty Hunter. So the choice of Bounty Hunter, I just personally happen to think that Darkseer is actually a stronger hero right now. Teams are playing a little safe early on, which means that you're not quite able to get as much track gold with the Bounty Hunter early as you really want to. And then you pick up Vlads, you pick up your support items. You never really Bounty Hunters rarely really get to the stage where they're actually dealing good damage. And the track gold hasn't, I find that it doesn't seem like it's quite enough to lift a team over another team. But, you know, Darkseer, Bounty Hunter, both extremely strong choices. Darkseer, great for those team fights, great for that vacuum ability, the Surge, the Wall of Replica. And Mouz, because Navi's picking up Jakiro and Darkseer, they pick up Luna. And now they're going to probably ban 3 carry heroes so that they can't give Hvost the hero they want. So they take out popular Hvost heroes. Hvost would love to play the Faceless Void. Hvost was one of the carries that popularized Faceless Void, because he was... we didn't see Faceless Void at all in the International 2 until quite late, and when we did, it was Hvost picking him up. But Faceless Void has definitely grown in stature since then. So Hvost, they take out Faceless Void, they take out Brewmaster, and this is weird. They take out Broodmother. I don't know why they did this. This Broodmother is a very odd choice for a last ban, because I'll explain why. So Broodmother is almost always run solo, and so you give a lane all to herself, and she just does a ton of damage in that lane, and eventually pushes down that lane. But Broodmother is a Light of Heaven hero. He's their solo offlane player, and I think they'll probably have Yeah, there's plenty of other things they can put Light of Heaven on. They could have put him on the Darkseer. They could definitely put him on Lone Druid. And I just don't know that Broodmother was the right choice. I feel like they should have doubled down on the preventing Hvost from getting his heroes. Hvost is still very capable of taking Anti-Mage, for instance, which he I think is fine with playing. And so it's interesting that they chose not to ban that out. But they do get the Luna, one of the strongest carry choices right now. I feel like I've been talking about Luna all day, so I won't go too far into depth. But basically, the good thing about carries right now, a good mid-game carry is one that has play early, and Luna brings that in form for Lunar Blessing and a Lucent Beam, and can take over the game late because they have the passive cleave or they have good damage, and Luna really does that. Yeah, I'm just getting some messages on Skype. I wonder if Federico's back. No, he's not. Okay. So, Mouz actually takes the Enigma. That's an interesting choice. They definitely want to sort of disrupt this teamfight capacity of Navi, which is starting to get scarier and scarier. With the Darkseer, with the Jakiro, Navi's very capable of dealing a gross amount of damage, so they wanted to prevent that. And Navi ends up not going with a traditional hard carry. They're going to put Hvost on this Lone Druid. So Lone Druid definitely capable of carrying a game, but he's more of sort of a mid-game pusher. But, you know, you don't always want to go for the hard carry, especially in games right now where there's not a lot of... Basically, when there was the more pushing focused metagame, usually the carries would sort of stay off to the side until a little longer, and they would get more time to free farm and sort of build up all of their items. But now the climate is sort of, you do get farm, but you get farm up to a certain minute, and then there's just team fights everywhere, and pushes only happen after the team fights or as an adjunct to the team fights. So in that environment, a hero like Lone Druid, who really is able to he's a very strong pusher just all by himself. He can get some farm, and then he can sort of start joining in fights as soon as the bear is strong enough to sort of tank up. He's more favorable than maybe usually somebody like a Faceless Void or an Anti-Mage who peaks later. So Mouz, meanwhile, has gone with the Vengeful Spirit. We're sort of seeing, in the very short term, we're seeing a little bit of a resurgence in people playing Vengeful Spirit. It's interesting that they chose to pick her up. The percentage damage on the Vengeancer is definitely going to be good when paired with the Luna's Cleave and just Luna in general. And it does give all units physical damage, so it does actually improve the Undying Tombstone units as well. But this is an interesting composition for them. They're going to have Kurikai playing this Enigma in the jungle. They will have Bounty Hunter on this... Oh, who is their mid, actually, is a good question. Will they run Vengeful Spirit? No. It'll be interesting to see how Mouz actually decide to lead in this. We'll go back to that in a second. Navi's lineup is pretty obvious. It looks like they're going to have Hvost on. Now that we know that Hvost is on the Lone Druid, he obviously becomes the safe lane farmer. They most likely will pair that up with the Jakiro in the lane and Puppy in the jungle on his... I don't know if it's still his favorite hero personally. I do know that he used to play Chen almost non-stop. Very good jungle hero, very good support. There were a number of sort of direct and indirect nerfs to Chen. One thing is that his ability to teleport a hero back to base was nerfed a little bit, in the sense that it was 6 seconds before it actually does it at level 1, and then 3 seconds at its max level, where it used to be 3 seconds at every level. And Chen got indirectly nerfed in the sense that Chen is an amazing pusher, especially early, and as pushing became a de-emphasized sort of ideology for teams, both in terms of like Ice Frog de-emphasizing it in patches to the game, and also teams just not caring about it quite as much. Chen had less of a role, but he's still an extremely good hero. Puppy is still amazing on him. So we'll have Chen in the jungle. Actually, Arsar's heading top, so we might have something unorthodox from them again. But the orthodox approach would be to have Chen in the jungle, Jakiro with Lone Druid at the bottom, and well, actually, so they could do solo safe lane as the other option. They could have the solo safe lane Lone Druid, since he's a very capable solo character. That way he gets a ton of levels, he still gets his gold, and they can try to have a roaming Jakiro or something that just causes kills to happen all over the map. Meanwhile, for Mouz, they've got Pass on this Bounty Hunter. Is he checking level 1 Roche? He's checking to see if Navi were trying to do a gimmicky Roche. They actually, I don't know if they could. Lone Druid Bear is capable of tanking Roshan for some time at level 1, but I don't know if they had the raw damage to actually get him down in that period. So both teams hunting for each other. We got Navi running around with 3 or 4 heroes in the jungle. They haven't actually found anybody. Hvost is actually taking a pretty dangerous route back. This is... well, he manages to intimidate Alex into not actually casting a stun on him, but that could have been scary. And they're just sort of wandering around right now. They did not find anybody to kill at level 1, but we're gonna start getting started. So they are going to run the Bounty Hunter as a solo, and I guess they're going to run 2-2-1. Maybe they'll run 2-2-1. Vengeful Spirit is mid, so this is interesting. We do not typically see a Vengeful Spirit mid, but the interesting thing about Vengeful Spirit is there's a concept called the hero's primary stat. and that's their statistic of the 3 strength, agility, intelligence that raises sort of the fastest, and it's sort of what determines what kind of hero it is. So what you find is that typically supports are intelligence because they need that mana pool. They need they don't really have good attack or good health, and then supports are frequently intelligence. Tanky characters are frequently strength, and you get some strength carries, and the hard carries are all agility because agility gives you attack speed, and the faster your attack speed, the harder you're carrying. But Vengeful Spirit is an interesting one because she's sort of she's usually played as a support, but she is an agi hero. Like, if given the right level of farm, she can actually do pretty well. So what they've chosen to do is they're doing a 2-2-1. They're doing 2 in the top. No, actually, they're doing solo safe lane Luna. Is that what they're doing? Right, so they have the Enigma jungling, obviously. It looks like they're doing solo safe lane Luna, so going one-on-one against this Darkseer, which is totally fine. Oh, wow, Dendy's in a lot of trouble here. Even though Dying has 8 stacks of Napalm, Dendy is forced to retreat. So the main thing is, to control this Dendy in middle, they knew that they couldn't pick up a mid-hero that would actually stand up against Dendy's Batrider. So what they've done is, okay, maybe we can't do it with 1 hero, but maybe we can do it with 2 heroes. So Undying, who's sort of an amazing harasser and just able to take a lot of punishment as well, combined with the Vengeful Spirit to give this aura, can actually sort of begin to oppress Dendy and make sure that he doesn't win this lane by quite as much. Meanwhile, they've got Paz as sort of he's roaming to sort of deny Chen some farm, pick up some kills off of Chen, the creeps that Chen is trying to kill, and sometimes visit the lane in which Khvost and Arsart on Lone Druid and Jakiro are. But at any rate, we got the bear up here. Actually, this bear is... oh, he's going to send it back. So... Navi are running Light of Heaven as the solo lane, as we sort of predicted, and knowing that it's going to be somewhat difficult for Light of Heaven to actually get kills on Black, they've decided to just leave Black alone. They're going to have Enigma farming, and maybe he'll come to try to kill Light of Heaven later, but he'll farm in the jungle. Enigma's a great jungle hero. And they'll just have Black getting all of his levels that he needs as Luna, and with Darkseer really unable to deny him all that much farm. So he's doing well so far. Khvost is already going off to a little bit of a better start than Black is, just because he's facing 0 opposition, whereas Black at least has to worry a little bit about Light of Heaven's Darkseer. But I think this is an interesting lineup from Mouz. The lanes are unorthodox. I do think that this Undying Vengeful Spirit lane is a little weird. I don't know 100% if it's going to work out, because Undying's kind of not that fast, and Vengeful Spirit's very not fast, so they don't have much of a choice but to sit there and take a lot of Napalm stacks from Dendy. So if Dendy plays his cards right, he could definitely he could not only win this lane, but also get kills in it, which would be not great for Mouz if they sort of gamble 2 heroes on being able to win that lane and not actually win it. Dendy probably will get this haste rune as well. I don't think he's going to be beaten to it by Undying. Well, they do stun him, but this Undying has 5 stacks. He's so slow. The best thing they could have hoped for was to kill Dendy, but because he has this Firewalk, he has Firefly, he can actually walk up to high ground and just avoid damage completely. So they don't manage to deny that lane. They do actually kill Puppey, because Puppey walks in thinking Dendy was going to help more. That's a bit of a miscommunication, honestly. Puppey's creeps are going to harass Alex a bit, but they do manage to get first blood, so that's fantastic for them. Paz still wandering around getting kills randomly. Actually, oh yeah, he got the haste rune. Dendy didn't actually pick it up, so... Paz doing a good job of roaming, I think. He's still level 1, which is the major downside to this roaming approach, but so is Jakiro, so it's okay. Definitely you want your bounty hunter to hit 6 as soon as possible, though, so if he's level 1 at 3 minutes, that's not a good start to him being 6 at 6 minutes. So this dual lane working pretty well so far. They've managed to hold Dendy to only 4 last hits, and the Undying has picked up 11, so that's definitely good, and Dendy with such low health is going to be in grave danger if he tries to come up again, just because there's still this Vengeful Spirit's unavailable. Undying doesn't have quite enough mana, but he could deal some damage. Meanwhile, Black's farming up here, still a slight bit behind Faust, but the gap is not really widening. Light of Heaven has not been able to effectively... when you have a melee carry up here, or somebody who's just really, really short range, and Luna is short range, but not quite that short range, a Darkseer one-on-one is very, very good because they can really, really be oppressive with these Ion Shells. And still, he's still pushing the lane up and doing some harassment to the damage to the tower, but Black doesn't really have to take the harassment damage. And because Luna is a naturally very, very fast character, and especially once he gets his boots, Darkseer can't do harassment where Darkseer can sometimes run past you, put Ion Shell on himself, and just deal a ton of harassment damage to you. But it's harder to do that to Luna because she's just so naturally fast that she can sort of run behind the tower much quicker. And that's actually why you see the Boots of Speed first, is to avoid ganks and to avoid this Darkseer harassment of just walking right next to you with the Ion Shell on top. So that's what we sort of see so far. Provost and and Black essentially free farming. We see this a lot in the current metagame. Pa's actually in a lot of trouble here. He does get taken down. He was not able to escape the combo of the Jakiro stun that can go out with the Ice Path, the Bear Entangle that can proc off the Lone Druid, and just the damage that goes on from that. If you get stunned by those two things, and you're a Bounty Hunter who has not a lot of health in the first place, and you're level 2, it's tough. It really is tough. So for Mouz, the good news are that their safe lane is going extremely well. They're able to get a lot of farm on the Luna. They've got this Enigma with uninterrupted jungle farm as well, and he's got a Soul Ring already. And this dual middle lane is also not going too badly for them. I worry a little bit about the sustainability of this Undying's mana pool, but he is going Arcane Boots, and he might go Soul Ring after that. I don't know. Sometimes see something like that. Wow, Pos is being... Oh no. Oh no, the second Entangle proc. When you get 2 Entangle procs like that, you just hate Lone Druid forever. I have a friend who Lone Druid is just his least favorite hero by far because it's not just that the Entangle procs are random, but it's the extreme swinginess provided when it does proc. So definitely not a good lane. This is the bad news for Mouz, is that this Bounty Hunter is level 2. He's stuck in this lane, and again, I just don't know that they should have given away Darkseer and taken Bounty Hunter when they could have given away Bounty Hunter and taken Darkseer. Luna one-on-one against Bounty Hunter is not that bad of a situation. Not that much worse than Luna one-on-one against Darkseer. And Darkseer would have a much easier time against this Jakiro Lone Druid dual lane. But regardless, drafting is always interesting, but teams have reasons for doing what they do. Jakiro actually roams. I did miss this kill, but with the aid of... Since Jakiro and Chen were able to roam around the map, they were able to actually get a lot of kills. However, Darkseer is taken down by the intervention of Enigma. That's my bad, missing 2 kills in a row. That's shameful. So with Jakiro and Chen, they have a pretty mobile force that can actually take these guys down. Because as I said, these guys are slow, especially when they have napalm stacks on them. So good job by Na'Vi there, but also good job by Mouz to manage to take down the Darkseer in the top lane. So Darkseer still definitely ahead of where Bounty Hunter is right now. He's level 6. Which is quite a bit ahead of this Bounty Hunter who's stuck at level 2. Or he's at level 3 just now, but he just hit it. And he has no way of stopping this tower from going down. And every time he does come out of stealth for even a second, this bear, now with his phase boots, is so fast. It can just run up and just smack him. He has no boots at all, so... Definitely a bad situation for Bounty Hunter. I don't know what they're going to do to manage it, because they still really want to keep Dendi from getting good farm. Although Dendi's farm is now catching up very, very quickly to Undying's. So I think they're having a little more trouble controlling Dendi in mid. This Bounty Hunter situation is still a total disaster, but they are starting to pick up kills on Light of Heaven. I think Pos will go down here. Yep. It's just, if you're being chased by that bear and it gets those Entangle procs on you, it's so tough. And Kvost is definitely going to keep pushing. He actually hasn't picked up his ultimate yet. This is one way that you can do Lone Druid, especially if you don't anticipate pushing that much. But he did get all the pushing he needed, so they are going to keep attacking this tower. And Poppy's here too with his creeps, so I think Mouz are going to give up the tier 2 as well. So Na'Vi definitely coming back with renewed vigor in this game, with a much more serious lineup, definitely, more standard heroes that they all know how to play. And really just pushing heavily and dominating this solo lane Bounty Hunter who is still level 3. This is going to be an increasing issue because a level 3 Bounty Hunter, especially with no boots, is just useless. It's not a useful thing for you. They are chasing Dendi. They will pick off Dendi in the middle with the aid of this Enigma. A lot of teams, both teams, just sort of getting these 2-on-1, 3-on-1 situations and managing to get pickoffs from there. So it's even on kills, but I would still say that the fact that Kvost has 2 towers to his credit and he's getting great farm means that, yeah, he's just so far ahead of this Luna just because Black, doesn't have that many tower kills. He doesn't have that many kills. He has 1 kill and 1 assist, whereas Kvost has already 3 kills and no assists, but 3 kills to his name. So you get more gold when you actually get the kill than when you just get an assist. So Black doing well, but I think Kvost is quite a bit ahead, and it's definitely scary to be against Kvost right now. I don't know. I don't know that this Bounty Hunter even needs to stay here at all. He's just getting torn apart. He does manage to hit 4, but he really needs 6. He really needs 6. Looks like the Vengeful Spirit is going to roam, but Na'Vi has a very smart ward here. When they sort of pierced up here, they immediately put a ward so that they'd know if the Vengeful Spirit was coming to mess around with the Lone Druid, for instance. And that's great. That's extremely intelligent. Meanwhile, Mouz's ward placement is also intelligent. They placed sort of wards all in this sort of Bat Rider danger zone, just to know if Bat Rider is going out. So good news for Mouz. Kurokai is at 1400. It looks like he's going to go straight for his blink, and once Ingwa gets blink, that's obviously very good for him because he can initiate fights with a big black hole in a lot of Na'Vi's heroes. And Black is doing pretty well on his Luna. He has his Akala, he has his Tranquil Boots. He's probably going to pick up drums next. I don't know if he feels like he's like they're in danger enough that he needs to skip the drums, so he probably just will build the drums. Chen popping ult. We got a big fight in the middle that I almost neglected, but lots of damage on Dendi. Actually, Kurokai gets taken down in the back. So definitely strong to get Kurokai. He didn't actually get to use the black hole, but this Undying Tombstone, oh my god. But in the back, wow, in the backfield of play, Kvothe is just so strong right now. He might actually, if he gets an Entangle proc, even if he doesn't get an Entangle proc, but he does, Kvothe is just taking over this game. He's got a double kill in the back. Those Tombstone creeps almost actually killed Arsart, but they did manage to kill the Tombstone just in time for it not to happen. Now they're going to push down another tower. And now I think if you're black, you are starting to feel the pressure because Navi's just taking towers like it's nothing. This Lone Druid is powerful enough that he can just sort of push and get a lot of kills. And the bear is a terrifying force of nature right now with the ability to run quickly at you with phase boots and then slow you down with that Orb of Venom. On the plus side for Mouz is that this bounty hunter finally got some room. He finally got his boots, he got his magic wand, and he's level 6. This level 6 is critical because every kill they make from now on with the bounty hunter present is going to be just substantially more valuable for them than kills that they got before that period. So definitely good for them to get that. I think they'll be happy to see the Pos finally caught up, and that's the advantage of having hosts finally roam away from that area. But you see Navi doing something very smart, which is they seize territory, and they almost like plant their flag there. So now they know if Mouz come in through this way or this way. And so it's sort of it's an offense and then defense. The offense is played by taking the tower, and the defense is played by securing the map control by placing wards. So both teams doing a very good job of maintaining their vision here, and as we sort of see Puppy continuing to farm, continuing to pick up creeps, he's got 2 Wildkins, so Tornado is a potentially good force in a confined space, and then that additionally he has the one Ursa who has the AoE. This one's pointing to mid. We got Jakiro coming in. Double hit on Dendi. They were waiting on the high ground for him. That's a lot of damage, but amazing, good ice path, good flame break. They managed to protect him. They actually, Tombstone comes up. I don't know if this seems really like a really pointless Tombstone actually. They see Pos. This is unfortunate for him. That they didn't quite know that Gem had been picked up on Jakiro. I didn't know either. Dendi's still taking a lot of damage, but it's not enough to actually kill him. And Bounty Hunter goes down yet again. Very, this Gem is just gonna. I'm sure they weren't expecting them to pick up a gem for a hero who was already sort of the least farmed on the map, but they really just want to keep that Bounty Hunter down. That's really the way to deal with Bounty Hunter. If you can make sure he never hits 6, or he hits 6 extremely late and he just keeps dying, then the track gold is a non-factor because he hasn't tracked anybody. He's 0-4-0, so at no point has track provided any gold to Mouz. And as a consequence, if we look at the gold graph, we'll see Navi ahead probably by 8k or more. Yeah, about 7.5k. So the reason is that, you know, they're ahead 3 towers, and they're ahead by kills, and Kvothe is getting just as good farm as Black is, even though he's also roaming and doing other stuff. So definitely a tough situation for Zero at the moment. I think their hopes still lie with this Luna. He has actually decided, so as I said, the decision was sort of, do I go the drums, or will we need me earlier? Like, will I be needed to actually do a lot of damage earlier? And he does think that, so he is going to go straight for the BKB. He's about 1,300 off from it, and the BKB will be big. With the BKB, I think Black will feel a lot better about actually participating in these team fights. The Bear just murdering Eidolons, making sure Enigma has worse farm, and now they're going to go for Black. Black is in a lot of trouble here, actually. This Bear is, if he Entangle procs on the first hit, okay. The Bear can't attack if it's too far from the hero, and Kvothe was just slightly too far away for the Bear to actually be able to attack, so it didn't have a chance to get the Entangle hits on Black. However, they are continuing to push. They're going to get this tower down, and they're going to continue pushing from there, I think. Navi has a pretty strong lead right now. This Lone Druid is very scary. He's actually almost got his Radiance. Basically, whenever you see something of this Sacred Relic on a Lone Druid, especially on his Bear, what he does... Oh, he actually finished the Radiance. He is done with Radiance. That's incredible. That's a 12-minute Radiance is actually astonishingly fast, because usually your Lone Druid doesn't get this many towers and this many kills this early. So the fact that he's 5-0-0 with 75 last hits means that he's going to get the Radiance. Oh, an amazing lasso from Dendi onto that Enigma. Without a black hole, Mouz are in a lot of trouble here. The channel keeps them all alive. What is Mouz's hope? It's the hope that they actually manage to get an Eclipse, but without the Luna being higher than level 10, he only has level 1 Eclipse. It doesn't nearly shoot out enough shots. Meanwhile, this Bounty Hunter is going to take him down yet again. He's 0-5. For every kill Kvothe has, he's had a death. Well, actually, not even, because Kvothe has 6 kills now. And they're still chasing. They still could get an Entangle proc on this Undying, or on this Luna. Now Black has to run. And they get the Entangle proc. This actually be the death of Black? No, it's not, actually. Close, but he manages to survive by popping his... 1 charges. But there you can sort of see just why Black really needs that BKB as soon as he can. Great flame break by Dendi. He won't actually escape. It was a little too cheeky, but they do manage to get the kill on the tower after that. Kurokai's still in a lot of danger, and once this Radiance is up on this Bear, this is just so tough to deal with if you're a team at 14 minutes. Because what Radiance does is it deals AoE damage every second to everybody in a pretty large radius, and the bear can use it even if it's not in range of the hero. So when you have the Ion Shell from the Darkseer already on the bear, see, right there, that Radiance just killed that Vengeful Spirit completely. It was basically just the Radiance and the bear. And they're going to kill off Kurikai again before he manages to Black Hole. I don't think he's landed a single good Black Hole this game. Mouz are in complete disarray. I don't think they actually have that much of a shot right now, at least not to take further losses before they manage to sort of pick themselves back up. The plus side, Black didn't die. He managed to survive in some really, really hairy situations. But the downside, everybody else is dying, and they're still managing to completely keep this bounty hunter from participating in this game. He did finally manage to get a kill on the board, but now he's got 6 deaths. He dies right in the Firefly there, even though Navi, I don't think, could see him. This Undying will actually make it out, so he's safe, but I just don't know that Mouz's game plan is coalescing in any useful way. And meanwhile, Kvothe, the fact that he has Radiance now is just enormous, because let's take a look at Radiance. So Radiance gives you passive damage, so it makes the bear's damage do more, but it also deals 45 burn damage. So very late in the game, at like 60 minutes, 45 burn damage is not a lot. But right now, if you look at Vengeful Spirit, she has 720 health. 45 damage every second is like, it's more than, you know, it's almost like 5%. It's more than 5% of her health. So she's taking more than 5% health damage constantly from the Radiance, in addition to the bear potentially beating on her. And that applies in an AoE. It applies to all of Mouz's heroes. She's got 220 health. Bounty Hunter barely has more than that. Enigma's a little tankier, but those heroes are just super, super vulnerable to that Radiance. Plus side, the positive is that Black has his Black King bar. And that's fantastic for him, because it means that he doesn't really need to worry about stuff like the Batrider Flame Break, the Darkseer repositioning, and the Jakiro stun for the time that he has it. However, the fact that he only just got his level 2 Eclipse. I think if he had had level 2 Eclipse for that last team fight, they'd have been in a little better shape. But the fact that they can't seem to land the Black Holes for Kurikai means that they really, really need to get Black King bar up on him. He needs that Black King bar very, very badly. At some point, it looked like he might just rush Blink, but I think that was incorrect, and I think it's smart of him now to start building up that BKB, because he needs to be able to not get stunned. He needs to not take so much damage that he doesn't actually ever get to actually cast that Black Hole. And sort of the problem is that even if he BKBs and manages to get off a Black Hole, Navi still have answers to that. They still have this lasso that they can easily get him with, even if he's Black Holed. They still have the Lone Druid Bear that can stun him. It's going to be very, very tough, and Mouz really need a fight in which they just start on the right foot and manage to get a lot of kills just to start out with, or they're just going to keep dying. They do manage to pick off Dendi there. Actually, no, they don't, because Chen's heal picks him up. And that's the strength of Chen. Your hero is almost dead, and then he can go right back to fighting immediately because you just heal them all up. And meanwhile, Kvothe is just unstoppable right now. This bear is doing insane damage. Kvothe himself is smacking for quite a bit of damage. He's level 14, is the highest level on the map by 1 against Luna. He doesn't really fear Luna at all because he's pretty tanky. The bear is even tankier, and if he gets an Entangle proc on her, she's in a lot of trouble. Navi are going to keep pushing. They have a commanding lead right now. It's probably, yeah, it's enormous. 10k gold, almost 10k experience. I think they can get this tower without too much issue, and maybe even the racks. I don't know what Mouz can really do. They really need to make sure that Black Hole lands on a lot of players without any help from BKB. They need to make sure that the Bounty Hunter stays alive. The Undying is able to keep his Tombstone up for a timely fashion. They are going to go in. I mean, they have to. They don't have much choice. But I don't know. The Enigma is once again not in a good position to actually BKB, and Navi can get out. They got the tower. That's all they need for now, and then they could just back out. The tower's already down. Mouz will need to worry about these Raxes for the rest of the game, if it even goes very long. Looks like Undying is making actually Chainmail and Vitality Booster. Do you think he's making? He might be making Blade Mail. So I think so. Chainmail builds into. You don't build the Vitality Booster for Blade Mail. Yeah, I don't know what he's making. Probably Chainmail. Probably Blade Mail rather. Blade Mail. And we got a Lasso on Black. He's got the BKB up. Doesn't matter because Lasso makes him vulnerable. You can see Vengeful Spirit just melts to all the damage over time. Just even the Midnight Pulse plus the Radiance plus the Macro Bar is enough to melt her extremely quickly. And now that there's 2 down, there's no way that Mouz can defend these Raxes. So Navi coming right back saying, okay, we don't want to lose 2. We don't want to. That'll just make us look like idiots rather than for the fun-loving dudes that we are. So next game, you're going down. So even though Black hasn't died, he's doing quite well again on Luna. He's got 453 gold per minute. That's nothing when put up against the 700 gold per minute that Fost has. He's 12-1. He has 2,500 gold. The bear is chock full of goodies. Where is the bear? It's radiancing down. So this is the other thing you can do. You know how I said the bear can't attack when it's not in range of Lone Druid? What the bear can do is radiance damage. The radiance damage applies regardless of whether the bear is in range or not. So you can actually multi-farm. Like you can farm one lane with the bear, just the radiance damage, and you can farm another lane. Actually, this is a little dangerous. The bear can still get away though because it's so fast. The bear moves at maximum movement speed right now with the Rabid plus the phase boots. It doesn't even need, yeah, with the phase boots toggle, it's almost at maximum movement speed. So it's actually extremely hard to catch that bear. And then with the Rabid from the Lone Druid giving it even more move speed, it's just, it trucks. It trucks along. Mouz realized that they need to do something big to get back to this game. They're 13 kills behind. They actually lost a set of Raxes. They need, at the very least, this Rush to work out. I don't know. They did. Oh, they had the Vengeful Spirit Wave of Terrors on cooldown. They really want to reduce the armor of this more than they already are. Looks like the drums that Luna didn't build are going to be on this bounty hunter. Look at how much this Radiance does. Look at how much it's melting down Mouz's team. They get the Radiance. I mean, they get the Roche, but they're just dying on the back of it. And Korokai's going to die again. He's not even going to get his Black Hole. Oh, that was a bad Eclipse. He loses the Eclipse right when he's casting it. And there's a lasso on this Undying. He's going to be brought down. Black will die again. Undying will die again. And Navi will take another lane of Rax off the back of this. Undying can't escape. Black does buy back. They're going to take down this Undying. He's doing his best, and he's doing a really good job of tanking, actually. Look at this tanky guy. This is the Vitality Booster and Chainmail and tons of stacks of Decay. Undying can really live for a very long time, but it's not enough. It's really not. Very bleak situation, and again, you see Navi destroys the Rax and lays a claim to it. Now they see up into this area, so they know where Mouz are, even within Mouz's own base. So they're definitely going to just follow up with an immediate other push, because what can Mouz do? They don't even have the Aegis, and they don't even have Black King Bar. Well, actually, he didn't use the Black King Bar. The one thing that Black could have done was pop the Eclipse after the Aegis came up, because then he would actually get the full cast off of it. So, and he's not going to have it for this next fight, which is also rather bleak for them. But I don't know. I don't know what Mouz can do to actually stop this team fight. It seems like Navi is just in a way too dominant position. This Lone Druid is 13-1. He's got his Field Magic Wand, which is good. The bear itself is just enough to just savage Mouz right now. It's almost at its Assault Cuirass. He has Hyperstone to increase its attack speed, and the Plate Mail, which is eventually making an Assault Cuirass, giving all of them armor, defending against the Luna, and just so much damage coming out, even just from the Radiance, but also all of the other magic damage that Mouz is able to deal. Enigma never quite hit that BKB. Black just got pulled in with that lasso of the Bat Rider, and Mouz are completely melting once again. They call the good game well played, and they're out. Navi coming back from kind of a, just, you know, losing in a close game, but a close game in which they sort of fucked around, to a not close game in which they did not fuck around. They went out there with killing intent. They have a 15-1 Lone Druid to show for it, with a full Assault Cuirass Radiance Bear at 22 minutes. Astonishing farm from Most. Actually, astonishingly well played. Got lucky in a few cases with Entangle procs. You can't say that he didn't, but hardly matters. He was able to completely dominate. Navi managed to not lose too badly in the solo lane, so Dendi was stuck up against two heroes that all wanted to kill him right from the beginning. He managed to not lose that lane. Light of Heaven did die a couple times against Black, but it wasn't enough to give Black the farm to actually get into the game. And Mouz weren't able to actually get their play together, and primarily, I don't want to over-explain by relying on the draft, because I know that I'm sort of a drafting nerd, so it's always interesting to me to see what sort of comes out of a draft. But this Bounty Hunter, this did nothing for them. He wasn't able to live against the Lone Druid, a Jakiro pair, where I really do think that a Darkseer in the exact same position could have lived just by virtue of being hasted rather than being stealthed. And I just don't think the Bounty Hunter should have been valued quite as highly as they valued it. And certainly if they took the Bounty Hunter, they needed to take far more care of making sure that he got to 6 in a timely fashion. Because by the time he was 6, everybody else was like 10, basically. And so it was extremely difficult for him to, not only to actually even get in and track, but especially to make sure that the track target actually died. He ends up with 1 kill and 1 assist. They get no benefit at all from the track. And really, Bounty Hunters in the modern metagame are a track machine. If you're not tracking, you're not doing it right. And consequently, Mouz never, their team fight never actually managed to gel. We didn't see many black holes. Certainly we didn't see any black holes that sort of turned the tide of a fight from the Enigma. We didn't really see we didn't see any tracks. The tombstones were definitely good, but there just wasn't enough following up, and we never really saw Luna come into her own with enough farm to actually make a difference in the team fights. So well played to Navi. That's going to be the last game of the day. There's not any more streams, certainly, just because, sorry, there's not any more live games, just because most teams playing in the West right now are European, and so they play on a European schedule, and it's already getting quite late there. I was considering casting a VOD as well, or so taking one of the games from earlier in the day and taking a look at it, but on the other hand, no, I'm not going to do that because I've been doing this for 7 hours. So I hope you had fun watching today. There were actually a lot of really good games. This last one I would not characterize as a really good game, just so we're clear, but some of the other games that we watched were definitely, I think, high quality. So I'll be uploading the VODs from these very, very shortly, actually, just after this, before I go to dinner. And thanks, and have a good day.